we have seen how to create the objects of different driver classes in Selenium. Okay, how to use Firefox driver, Chrome driver, Edge driver. Okay, but how we can write a script which will be working on all the browsers. Okay, so how do we do that? Okay, we want a single script to, work on all the browsers. Right. Like, for example, I'll just make a new project. Yeah, right, and add the jars. So in every project, you need to add the Selenium jars. Right. Hold on. Okay, so in the source folder, you create a new class known as dynamic browsers. So what we want is that suppose I have a variable, a string variable known as browser, and if that browser is equal to Chrome, then that particular script, the whole script which you are running of Selenium, should be working on Chrome browser. If I change this to Firefox, then the whole script should run on Firefox. Okay, the general uh, mind says that fine, you can use the if statement that if the browser is equal to Chrome, then in that case, you write the same piece of code for Chrome which we had written yesterday, right? And else if the browser is equal to Firefox, then you initialize your Firefox driver, that is this one, right? And oh, just a minute, guys, just hold on. Sorry, hold on. Just hold on, guys. Somebody is not able to join the training. Okay, hold on. Just hold on. He's contacting me. Just hold on. All right. So in this case also you can use Firefox driver. Okay, and you can write Firefox driver dot get to the URL http anything like bbc.com, right? And then you can write a separate piece of code for Edge. Okay, but does this even make proper sense what I'm doing? Because if I'm having a different piece of code for every browser, then I have to write the code separately for every browser. Okay, for example, hold on. Let me just copy this over here. If I have to click on a link on Chrome, I'll have to write the code to click on the link using Chrome driver, and then using Firefox driver, I will have to write the code to click on Firefox and Edge. So this doesn't work and this doesn't make any sense. Okay, so what you need to do is that you need to hold on, understand the concept of interfaces in Java. The concept of interface in Java will help you to solve this particular problem. Okay, if I create a new, you will get the option interface. Now, interface is different than a class. So let us go to Java, study interface, and then we will see how interface can help us solve this particular problem. Okay, right. So um, I'll create a new interface, right? And um, a very simple one, for example, phone. So this is the interface phone, and I'll create a function, public void call. Okay, so in an interface, you just declare your functions that these are the features of an interface. Okay, call, recharge, message, right? So in an interface, you just define that what are the capabilities of a phone. Okay, these are the capabilities of a phone. It can call, it can recharge, it can message. Fine. And you create a new class, suppose Android phone. So the Android phone class in Android phone is basically a phone. It will have these three features of the phone interface. Okay, so what we do is that we write like this, that Android phone implements the phone interface. So if you are writing that a class is implementing an interface, it basically means that it has to implement all the functions of the interface, not half of them, not some of them, but all of them. That is why I'm getting an error over here. If you look at the error, it will say type Android phone must implement the inherited abstract method call. So basically you click on this error, add the fix. Whenever in Eclipse you have an error, you will also get suggested fixes which are not correct all the times. Okay. But yes, as a beginner, you should be knowing, right? So Eclipse tries to correct you. Fine. So you add the unimplemented methods. So all the three methods have come up over here. Call, recharge, and message. Okay, right. So the Android phone is implementing the phone interface and it has implemented all the three methods. This @ override is optional. You can remove it as well. This is known as annotation. Okay, annotation, this is known as annotation. It is just there to give somebody who looks at the code an idea that fine, this function is coming up from the phone interface. Okay, you print inside it Android calling, and you print over here Android recharge, and you print over here Android message. Okay, and then you go and open another class known as, say, iPhone. Okay, or iOS phone. So the iPhone class will also implement the phone interface, right? And it has to implement all the functions, right? And I can print iOS phone calling. Okay, and so whatever phone comes up will be implementing the interface. Okay, so basically what I did was, you know, I made one interface and I had three functions. Oops, hold on. Call, recharge, and message. Right. This interface is being implemented right now by two classes. Okay. So all these three functions will come up in the two classes, and they will, both the classes will have to define the body of these three functions. But what did we achieve out of this? The question is, why did we do this? I could have decided not even to make this interface. I could have directly made these two classes with the three functions. Okay, then why did I what did I achieve achieve from the interface? Look, what I achieved was, firstly, a structure. I gave a certain discipline to the whole thing, that Even if a layman is looking at my code, by opening the phone interface, he will understand that fine, these are the three functions of the phone interface. And he will understand that, you know, whichever class will implement this in three functions will have to implement these three interfaces. Tomorrow, if some other phone comes up, some other platform comes up, say an AI phone, right? Then that will also implement this interface. So a newcomer in the team, it's easy for him to understand the code as well. He will know that fine, this is the basic contract, these are the basic rules that a phone should have three functions at least. And whichever phone comes up in the environment tomorrow will have to implement this interface. So it gives a kind of structure, discipline to the whole thing. Right. And if I create a new class with the main function, okay, which is something like you can execute, right? Then I can um just hold on. Anamika, are you getting an email for the training?
No, Ashish, I'm not. I mean,
That's what.
whatever
Yeah,
WhatsApp
actually,
message I get, that's how I
no, no.
connect.
No, I actually did a mistake. I entered your email as wrong email ID. I realized it in the morning. So that's
Oh,
why it bounced back to me and I saw it in the morning. So I've corrected it now. Okay.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay, fine.
sorry.
Thank you.
And okay. So look, anybody from this class who is not able to understand or anything like you are not, you know, you are very new to programming and if you're finding this thing very different, okay, then you can do let me know. Okay, right? Because at times, people, I really don't know your background, every one of you. I've seen in the past, I've been training since a long time of people with a very different background. Okay, sometimes they join the training and it's very tough for them to cope up, and then they don't inform me as well, and I have ways in which they can learn differently. So please let me know in case you are finding this very weird or different. Okay, because this is programming. If you have done some programming in past like C or C++, then also you can at least relate. All right. So sometimes like people with the once upon a time a person with an accounting background had joined the training, or some, even once I had a student who was a doctor. Okay, so I was not actually aware that the backgrounds are different, so that's why I'm telling you. Okay, so um fine, so the test phone class, in this I can create the object of Android phone. Okay, if I create the object of, okay, look, you don't need to type the full spelling. Okay. In Eclipse gives you some good features. If you just type AN and hit Control spacebar of the keyboard, it will give you few suggestions. You can select the suggestion Android phone. So it will calculate the names of the matching classes, right? And then it's Control spacebar. Okay, you can call the functions Android phone dot call dot recharge dot message. And when you run this code, you will understand that all the three functions which are there in the Android phone, they are being called. Okay, fine. So Android calling, Android recharge, and Android message. So this is, hold on. Yeah, this is how it works. Fine. Now, similarly, iOS phone, and you can write iOS dot call, iOS dot recharge, iOS dot message. Fine. And when you run this, you see that the function names are same in both the classes. This is because of the interface, because both the classes are implementing the same interface, but both the classes are implementing the functions in their own manner. And this is exactly what happens in case of Selenium, right? Okay, Anamika, you don't have any background in programming. Okay. Okay, let me call you after the class and I'll tell you few things. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So, if you are like, if you run this, you get this output. Android phone dot call function. If you call, then you print Android calling. Right. So basically, if you look at the Selenium dot dev and go to the download section, you will see in the API docs, switch to the frames view. This is the documentation. So whatever is written in italics, it is an interface. Okay, hold on. Like for example, if you scroll down, this is WebDriver. So it's written in italics. Basically or technically, WebDriver, this is the starting point of Selenium. WebDriver is an interface. Technically, WebDriver, there is an interface known as WebDriver, which is there inside Selenium, right? And it's an interface and it's got functions which can help you interact with the browser, like close function, which will close the current window. Find element. This means that, if you want to find a link, a button, anything on the web page, find element, right? Then get the title of the page, get the current URL of the page, get the page source, navigate. So it's got different functions which can help you interact with the browser, right? And you have got, so the interface WebDriver is just like this phone interface, which will just have the methods declared. This phone interface I created was implemented by Android phone and iOS phone. Okay, so what happened was that um, both the classes had the same functions. So in Selenium also, you have an interface WebDriver, which is being implemented by classes like Chrome driver, Edge driver. Okay, all the driver classes, Firefox driver, are implementing the same interface. So all these driver classes will have these functions, the same function names. Okay, so the close function will be there in Firefox driver as well. Okay, all the drivers like the get title function, which will get the title of the current window, will be there in all the three browsers. That's why, you know, we had written this code in the beginning of the class. Okay, where we had declared the browser. So if the browser name was Chrome, it was opening Chrome driver, else Firefox driver, else Edge driver. That is why the get function is there in all the three drivers, because all the three drivers are implementing the WebDriver interface. If you want to get the title of bbc.com, you can write Chrome driver dot get title. So this will go to bbc.com and get you the title. Or if you want to get the title of Firefox driver, you can write Firefox driver dot get title, or C or Edge driver. So you can print Edge driver dot get title. So when you run this code, so it will launch Chrome and go to bbc.com, and it prints the title. If I change the browser to Edge, then it will go to this part and launch Edge, go to CNN and print the title. Okay, I closed it. That's why I got the error. I shouldn't have closed the browser. I closed it prematurely. Okay, anyways. So you have the three classes implementing the same interface. They will have the same function names. But this really doesn't solve the problem. The problem is that even if I'm giving the browser name and if I'm running the script, I have to write a separate code for Chrome, separate code for Firefox, and separate code for Edge. We know that because of interfaces, the function names will be the same, but still I have to use this a separate piece of code. And to solve this, there is another usage of interface. Okay, now understand this carefully, look at this carefully. At times people they get confused over here. Suppose iOS phone says that it has got one more feature, public void iMaps. So this function is not coming up from the phone interface, but this function is proprietary function of iOS phone, which is obviously not there in Android phone. Okay, so I can call this function from the iOS phone object. When I create it, I can write iMaps. Okay, but iMaps function will not be available with Android phone. Now, I'm going to create the object of iOS phone in a different way. Till now, we have created the class name iOS equals to new iPhone. Now, I'm going to create the object like, say, phone P1 equals to new iOS phone. So, I have changed the reference. Over here, the reference was of the class iPhone pointing towards the object of iOS phone. But over here, the reference is of the phone interface. This phone interface, which was being implemented by the iOS phone. Okay, so these two lines are different. Now, what is the difference between these two lines? With P1, I can access call. With P1, I can access recharge, message, but not the IMAP's proprietary function. If you create the object like this, then you can access the functions which are there in the phone interface and coming to the iOS phone class. Okay, if you create the object like this, then you can only access the functions which are there in the phone interface and which can come in, which are coming in the iOS phone class, not the proprietary functions of iOS phone. Okay, so what is the advantage of creating the object with interface reference rather than this? Because this way we are actually able to access less functions, right? So the advantage is, suppose if I create the object phone P2 equals to new iOS phone. I can call P2 dot, say, the call function. Fine, I'll just print over here or demarcating line, and when I run this, this obviously prints iPhone calling. Okay, right. Now, if I write over here P2 equals to, I pointed towards the object of, this is the phone interface reference. It can also point towards the object of Android phone. Okay, first it was pointing towards iOS phone. Now I pointed towards Android phone. And I call the same function p2.call. So this will call from the Android and this will call from the iOS. So when you run this, you see that. So basically, I can create a reference, say null. Null means that it is not pointing anywhere. And based on my choice, I can make it point towards Android phone, or I can make it point towards iOS phone. So anything. Okay. And in Selenium, okay, we have got the driver classes. All right, we have Chrome driver for which we create the object, say like this, or Firefox driver for which we are creating the object like this. So now, instead of using Firefox driver or Chrome driver object like this, we can also create the object with the WebDriver interface, because the WebDriver interface is being implemented by both the driver classes. Or maybe, I can write like this: WebDriver driver equals to, say, null. Just like we have the phone P3 as null. And based on my choice, I can make driver point towards object of Chrome driver. Okay, or I can make the driver point towards object of Firefox driver. Anything. Okay, I hope you're getting my point. Right. So this is the advantage of interface. It is similar to the things, so not exactly same, but similar to, if I have a variable int I equals to 10, on next line I can write I equals to 100 or I equals to 200. Right. So similarly, I can write driver and I can point it towards different objects. So that's what is needed in our dynamic browser's code. Right. So we will declare driver equals to null. Okay, and then point the driver to Chrome driver. It is if it is Chrome. I'll remove this code from here and point the driver to Firefox driver if it is Firefox. Right. And point the driver to Edge driver if it is Edge. So this will launch the browser dynamically. Now, if I run the code, this browser name is Edge. So once you run this, so you see that Edge browser is launched. And if I change this to Chrome, then the Chrome browser will be launched. So I'm initializing my driver based on the browser. And now I can call the regular functions. I can write, once it is initialized, we are ready. You can write driver.get. All the functions and all the browser uh, drivers are same. Okay, you can write, say, cnn.com. After going to cnn.com, you want to print the title of the page. So you can write driver.get title. If you want to click somewhere on the web page or interact with the web page elements, you can write the code to click over here. So basically the code will remain same. Okay, the script to open the browser, you'll have to put it in if else, but the underlying after that, the code would be same for all the browsers. Okay, so if I run this will open Chrome and take it to cnn.com. Okay, and if I change this to Edge, this will open Edge. Only one variable has to be changed, and the entire script will work on a different browser. And what happened? Who helps us over here? The concept of interface. Okay, it is the concept of interfaces which help us in doing so. All right, now anybody with any questions in this? Anything? Right? So if you have understood this, then it's great. Okay. And one thing, guys, the videos will come up in your account. Okay, after you log in into your account, on the left side you will see a batch recording section. Okay, just go to that batch recording section and you will be able to see the video over there for your batch. Okay, now if you have to now click on a link or do any interaction with the browser, you'll have to write the code over here. Okay, now how do you interact with the browsers and how do you interact with the elements in the browsers? I'll take that tomorrow because I need time for that. Now, one thing, guys, I'm writing system.set property for these exes again and again. You don't need to write this. Okay, you can add the exes in your system variable. Okay, in your PC, basically put the exes in a particular folder. Okay, copy the path of the folder, go to the project properties and go to advanced system settings and under the advanced tab, click on environment variables and you will see a path variable. Edit this path variable and click on new and paste the path of exe over here and restart your PC once. Okay. After restarting, that will come up under the system environment variables and it will picked up automatically from there. So you don't have to add the exe over here. Now, if I, in my PC, if I put this as say Chrome and run this will work. Okay. So you don't need to write the path of exes every time. Fine. Right, so I'll stop here for today. Okay, we will see how to interact with the web page from tomorrow, how to interact with the components, if you have to click on a link, if you have to type in a text box automatically, right, with the help of script. So how do we do that? Okay, anybody with any questions? Anything, right? So I'll also give you a lot of exercises tomorrow. I'll tell you some quizzes and exercises to solve. Okay, so we have done object-oriented programming, we have done interfaces. Okay, and I'll tell you exercises about exercises I'm going to tell you tomorrow. Okay, so Rupa, just check in 5 minutes. I'm mapping your ID and Anamika, I'm calling you in some time. Okay, yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Ashish, thank you. I'll
okay,
take off for the
yeah,
day.
okay, all right. Thank you. We'll meet
Okay.
Thank
tomorrow.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.